That's right. Oh, baby. And here we are again for another day and another episode of this, the Michael Baston podcast. Of course, this is a podcast in two parts, wherein I release solo episodes every Monday, going subject by subject down the run sheet, based on topics of your suggestions. So make sure to follow me on Instagram, Michael Baston Pod, or follow me on Twitter, Michael_Baston, and send me a suggested topic, either a subject, a video, an article, or just a one-word suggestion so that I can talk about it. And then there's episodes released every Wednesday with artists, musicians, interesting people, and I'm honored to have in the habitat today Mr. Cody Lynn Boyd. Thank you for coming in, man.
Thanks
I really
for
appreciate
having
it.
me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, make sure to follow Cody Lynn Boyd on Instagram, Cody Lynn Boyd, two N's in Lynn, as it were. Also, like his Facebook page. And you can stream on Spotify and iTunes or whatever. These tunes that you have, Cody, rarely do I find myself as impressed or like as... I really dig your tunes, man.
Thank you.
Like it's rare that I really come across somebody like that. You've got these 4 tracks that are out there that I would describe as raw, darkly cool, kind of channeling the vibe of musician from the years past with a unique, rare approach. I don't think that I've heard anyone else who's doing what you're doing quite the way you're doing it. So that's pretty awesome.
Oh, cool. Huh.
So I'm really interested to talk to you, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Yeah.
That's cool, dude. I appreciate you coming down here. So like... You've got these 4 tracks out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're all fairly recent. I think that you released some in 2018, late last year. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that when you first started releasing tunes?
I released like a demo about a few years ago, or like a demo album. It was about 12 songs I did with a friend. Then I released some like acoustic recordings before that, way back when. But those are only on Bandcamp.
Mm-hmm.
But I just recently started recording studio, I guess, level recordings.
Yeah. Notice that. There's a few things I know. It's not just the material that's strong, but also on these particular recordings, the musicians that you have with you on the tracks are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You know, like the slide guitar, I think on I'll Go, like this kind of like haunting sort of vibe that's going on there. Who were those musicians and where did you record those tracks?
The 2 main musicians was my 2 producers, Taylor Tatch and Joshua Ryan Jones. They're from Fort Worth.
Cool.
At least way back when. But then I also had a few other friends play on it as well, on other songs.
So, and Taylor he operates a studio, doesn't he?
Yeah, in Dripping Springs.
That's right, man. I've had a few people in here who have either worked with him. I think September Moon went down there and recorded this country band from Arlington. They're really cool.
Mm.
How did you... This is what I'm curious about, like a couple of things. I've got like 10 questions in my head for you.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start writing music?
When I was about 16, 15, somewhere around that. I had a friend that gave me an acoustic guitar, and I started writing like simple songs in the beginning.
Where did you draw influence from? Like what made you want to do that?
I always sang to a lot of Disney musicals.
Oh, really?
Like Mary Poppins and I guess Aristocats and all those kind of cartoon
Classics.
musicals, or just the live action ones as well. But so I always like singing. But when I got a guitar, it was kind of nice to actually write my own lyrics and like write my own songs and melodies and stuff like that. And, I didn't really perform them until about 2 years ago. So I would always kind of play by myself. Subtle, or sometimes at like coffee shops, but nothing too crazy.
Maybe like some open mics and stuff like that.
But like more like in the town where I was living, Mansfield. But I just started playing like Fort Worth, Dallas, Austin like 2 years ago. That's
awesome, man. How did you make that jump into performing? Like, did you have to contact someone? Did you know someone?
Well, I performed at this venue that's not here anymore in Fort Worth called the Live Oak, and the sound person, Joshua Ryan Jones, was there working, and then he saw me perform, and then he went up to me afterwards and said, "Hey, I want to produce one of your songs that you wrote."
Wow.
With Taylor Tatch. So then he brought me down to Dripping Springs, and we recorded I Played With Fire.
Nice.
We had like my friend Ryan play bass on it as well. But throughout all the songs have mainly been Joshua Ryan Jones and Taylor Tatch producing and being a session player on for my songs.
So they kind of come in and they're like, hey, let's put a little bit of this here, put a little bit of this here.
Yeah, we kind of brainstorm what we want. but yeah, I'll go in there, then I'll play the song and everything, kind of the structure of it and everything, and then we'll kind of think of ideas. I kind of give them a theme, what I want, and everything. Like I'm gonna give you anything. I wanted like a saloon piano. I
Cool.
wanted that New Orleans slide to kind of have that kind of carny vibe. And
Totally, yeah.
everything.
I can hear that. It's got that like swing thing going on.
But it's always different ideas. I'll go in there with ideas, and then they'll have ideas that are better than mine, and then I'll go in there and have ideas, and they'll go with those. It's fun.
Kind of work together on that. Dude, the banger of all bangers as far as these tracks to me is I'm Gonna Give You Anything, because I really dig like the acoustic ones. Let me just kind of look at my notes here. Made of Stone, dude. I can't believe how good that fucking song is, man. The stuff you're saying in there, you know, take what you want, break what you want. You'll see I'm made of stone. But then I'm Gonna Give You Anything is like, especially towards the end, the way it builds, and then you have like a kind of a Jim Morrison type of thing at the end where you're just like yelling, and it's just so badass.
Cool.
So anyway, I'm gonna stop fanboying out, but like, so it's been the same studio and the same producers for each track that you've done.
Yeah, for those, yes.
I think it's an interesting approach to kind of release like all these different singles at various times. Do you have plans for like a full album?
Eventually, yes, but I feel like with my budget and also me kind of brainstorming what's the best way for an artist starting out putting stuff to the public, I feel like doing singles is best for me right now. But eventually, I would like to put it all, like intertwine it all together and make it an album. Yeah, it's kind of like my OCD. I kind of want it all be intact.
Gotcha.
But so there's a possibility. I'm gonna release another song on Valentine's Day.
Beautiful.
And then I think I'll start thinking more about an album. I'm getting a music video done for another song that'll probably be released later on.
That's
after
cool.
that.
So you have a lot of material. Do you have a lot of songs written?
Oh yeah, I have a lot. Yeah, yeah, I do. But it gets kind of scary sometimes because it's like I want to record and then it takes a while, to do that, and then I keep writing songs, so I feel like I'm like letting go of my older songs. So all these songs I recorded this time, the 10 that I have that I plan to make an album for, it's a mix of new songs I had at that moment and also very old songs I didn't want to like let go.
Yeah.
I always have attachments to things sometimes. Like when I was a kid, every time I would leave my room, all my stuffed animals, I would make sure they were next to each other because I felt like, oh, they need to be together.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Just in case like a Toy Story situation broke out and they come alive, they want to have friends close to each other.
Yeah. But I have attachment to them, and I feel like the more I keep writing songs, the more I'll be distant to those older songs because I won't be as excited to play those, even though I might like them as much or more than the new ones or vice versa. But I feel like I kind of want to hurry up and release those and then start on the new stuff.
Yeah. But, so you want to kind of keep it moving, like keep the fresh stuff going.
But I mean, I can't though because I gotta get everything kind of like in order. It's and stuff that I don't even understand how to like the best way to release it and how to get it out there and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's a great sign that you're still writing. Do you play and write every day or every week? I'd imagine.
It is whenever I feel like it. It just depends. Yeah, I usually write like late at night. That's when I usually write. But
is it on the acoustic guitar usually?
Yeah, it's always random though. But I never like force myself to write because I feel like it never comes out right when I do that. I kind of just do when I feel like it.
Now, when you said that you would like sing along to Disney movies and stuff like that, were you ever in any type of like drama or theater type of thing where you did plays and stuff like that?
I was in theater for 2 years and I had to do this one thing. I totally forgot like what it was. Probably because it's like I was so embarrassed by it, I wanted to forget it. But I was shaking.
I got a few of those.
I was shaking crazy on stage. I used to have very, very bad stage fright. But I guess I slowly kind of got out of it, thankfully.
So you feel more comfortable on stage now?
Yeah, I think I don't have really good vision, and I'm kind of stubborn. I don't wear glasses.
Why not?
I don't know. I think that's why I kind of like daydream a lot because I'm not focused on detailed things.
Yeah.
But I think it helps me with being on stage is having bad vision because I'm not looking at the details of people's eyes.
Yeah.
And like just everything like crisp. It kind of like makes me like more to myself. So it kind of helps with that.
So are things like blurry to you?
It's not too blurry, but it's just I don't have perfect vision.
Mm-hmm.
But it wouldn't be good for me to drive without it, I would say.
Gotcha.
But enough to get around if I was like in a country town or something like that.
Yeah, just the slow roads, no freeways. One of those 2 stoplight towns.
Right.
You come from Mansfield, man. Were you like born and raised there?
No. I was born in a town, Bedford, but when I was 2, I moved to Galveston, and I lived
Cool.
there mostly as a kid, and then I moved to Grapevine for a little bit, then Haltom City, and then Mansfield.
Nice. So Galveston, kind of like a beach town. They're on the water by the ocean. What's it like growing up there? Like, because I've gone there for vacations, and I've gone to towns like that for vacations. And I think that's what most people do. But you were like a resident there. Was there a thing growing up where it was like, oh, damn tourists?
No, I was so little. I kind of just watched cartoons a lot.
Yeah.
But I went to the beach as well. Like I would go fishing and stuff on a pier, and
nice.
they would give me ice cream if I got a fish. And
That's
stuff like
cool.
that. But yeah, I was mostly in tune with TV and like cartoons. Those like my, I guess, main entertainment.
What were some of your fave cartoons back in the day?
Oh, they still are, but Courage Cowardly Dog, Scooby Doo, Dexter's Laboratory. Oh, there's so many. Ed, Edd and Eddie, but there's too many to list.
A lot of Cartoon Network classics.
Mm-hmm.
So you still watch those to this day?
Yeah, I watch it at night a lot because it's nice to have it in the background and kind of like reminisce about old times, and also see some of the adult humor in it too, and kind of imagine the grown adults creating these cartoons and like how much fun they were doing in the process. Just kind of like seeing the project they did and the nights they spent just making the voices, the animations, the dumb ideas they might have made when they were like, I don't know, drunk or like, who knows? Like there's so much stuff that could have been added to it.
Who knows what those cartoon writers were doing in the writing room at 3 a.m. The other day on your Instagram, you had a poll, and it was Doug or Arthur. Mm-hmm. And most people voted for Arthur, which I can understand. But I don't know, maybe it's people of a certain age group. I used to love Doug back in the day. And when you just said that you daydream a lot, that makes me think of Doug. I could always identify with Doug because he's always daydreaming. And like the show would go into his like daydream fantasies, and I'm like, that's kind of what I do, you know? Are you a very thoughtful person? Like, are you in your own head a lot?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I feel like everyone is though, yeah.
Are you more of a what do they call it? Extrovert or an introvert?
I think it depends on the person I'm with. Like right now, I'm kind of in the middle.
Yeah, so we're in the middle.
Yeah,
I can dig that, man. Are you you seem like kind of a nostalgic person. Do you think about like the past a lot?
Oh yeah, I do a lot actually.
Do you place value on things like from the past, huh?
Yeah, I like focusing on the past. I think lately is because I think I care about child development and everything. I feel like it makes kind of a healthy person in the future. So like me thinking about all the things that kind of made me happy and stuff like that. It's like I feel like that's very important for a person like being older and everything.
Yeah, to kind of sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was done.
Well, it's like to kind of hold on to that childness, you know, because that disappears, man. It's like people. I think the more like life people live, the more they kind of let go of that the curiosity from childhood. I was actually thinking about this the past couple of days. When you're a kid, you don't know anything yet, not in terms of like life, but just in terms of how to perceive the world. Like you're figuring out how to walk around and what certain things mean. Mm-hmm. Did you ever have the thought when you were a kid, because I did, and I've heard a couple other people say it, that like, okay, I see things a certain way and I see the color red, but what if your color red is different from my color red? Or like, what if you perceive shapes completely differently?
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that theory.
You know what I mean? Like, how do we know that everyone is seeing the same thing the same?
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm not sure. I know people are perceiving things differently for sure. Mm-hmm. People have different brains and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always, everyone's on a different field when they're talking. But I feel like you get kind of like a rush when you talk to somebody when you're on the same like wavelength.
Yeah.
And everything. I think it's possible for both. It kind of changes and everything.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Maybe people become more similar. There is like a certain personality type that will gravitate towards. Maybe if it's a matter of like familiarity, you know, like, and you can identify something within that person, I guess. Yeah, there's something to that. What kind of music did you listen to growing up? We talked about the cartoons. What other stuff, as far as like music, what'd you listen to?
I listened to the Gorillaz a lot. I noticed that when I was young, I listened to a lot of music that was closer to my guess like the release date, like how modern it was. And then like the older I got, the farther of like the music I listened to. Like I listened to older stuff as I got older. But when I was younger, I listened to like the stuff that just came out. But so I was a big Gorillaz fan when I was a kid.
Plastic Beach.
Yeah, Plastic Beach. I also listened to what is it? I think that they were like the main band, and a lot of radio songs. Like I was like a big fan of like radio songs, like You Had a Bad Day and stuff like that. I don't remember like the artist names or anything. It was kind of just fed to me. But
yeah, that's how radio is. Kind of the top 40 stuff.
But they were good songs. They were nice.
So when you got into the older stuff, as you got older, what type of stuff is that?
A lot of things involving lyrics, like Leonard Cohen, Bob Dylan. I like Screaming Jay Hawkins as well. He's kind of more wild though. He's more of like an entertainer.
I don't think I've heard his stuff, Screaming Jay Hawkins.
Oh, he's great. He has like a very like spooky vibe, which I like a lot. And
you have that a little bit.
Yeah,
you got some of that going on.
But I like the Doors a lot too. They're great. I like Nirvana as well. I don't know, a good amount of music.
Yeah. There's Dylan right there, man. I'm a fan of his. I have a ton of his albums on vinyl, ton of books. I went through a strong Dylan phase, probably for 4 years,
really?
Where I basically didn't listen to anything but Dylan.
Nice.
And then coming out of that for like a year, it was just Dylan-like bands, like Dylan-esque bands.
You like Tom Waits?
Yeah, I do like Tom Waits. There's a poster of him right underneath. That's actually Alex's poster. My friend Alex, who I do Mind the Tambourine with, on that wall. He gave me that poster. He just kind of put it here for the podcast. I haven't listened to as much Tom Waits as... I can't call myself like a full-fledged fan because I don't think I've listened to a full album all the way through. But I definitely respect what he does, Do you like Tom Waits?
Oh, I love Tom Waits. Yeah, he's great. He's wild like Screaming Jay Hawkins as well. He's great.
Kind of this... He seems like a true... artist, like it's just raw and real, and what's right there is what comes out. That's kind of the way I think that's what I think when I hear your stuff, because I've been listening to you the past few days, and our minds just try to categorize things into something we're already familiar with,
right?
And I feel like you're in this like Nick Cave, Dylan type of vibe where it's like it's like kind of dark, a lot of like minor chords, definitely like very introspective, and the lyrics are coming from a very real place. And everyone I can think of to compare you to in my head is also like doing the solo singer-songwriter thing. When you play on stage, do you play acoustically, or do you ever have bands with you like on the album?
Mostly I play acoustically. If I can afford to pay my a backing band, which I do sometimes, then I'll play with them. But it's very rare that I do. But I love when I do, because it's great to play with other people. But because I feel like when I write the songs, I always have like more layers in my head when I'm writing it. But yeah, it's fun when I do play with the band.
Yeah, it's interesting that when it seems like when you write your songs, you have a whole concept in mind.
A little bit, yeah. I always have like a theme and everything, and I always want to plan out what instruments would kind of best go with like what the story's about and everything.
Yeah,
kind of like that mood and everything. Give it kind of like a frame. But yeah,
then you can kind of play with that like idea and do different things with
the
the song.
For sure.
That's cool, man. So yeah, you mentioned that you have a lot of songs written. Do you? This is a weird question. Do you write your lyrics down, or do you like type them?
I used to type them a lot, but lately I've been writing them. But I type first.
Oh yeah.
Or I'll usually write ideas as well, like the first verse and everything. And then when I'm finally finished and I got it all sketched out, then I'll like type it to make it kind of neat.
Yeah.
And everything. But it's always different. If I'm like at a restaurant, and there's a napkin, I might write on that too. It depends on where I'm at.
Right on. That's cool, man. Do you have any favorite Dylan albums or like Dylan time periods? It's like a 60s stuff that does it for you?
I like a lot of it. I think if I had to pick one album to listen to at this moment, I'd probably Bring It All Back Home.
Great album.
I like that one.
It's where he first went raucous. Subterranean Homesick Blues is on there. What's cool about that album is that there's like 5 rock songs with a rock band, and then there's like 4 super long, like masterpiece acoustic songs. It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. I think not Mind the Tambourine. Mr. Tambourine Man is on there. That's some good shit.
It's a good mix of everything.
Yeah, you can definitely hear him changing. Like that's where he kind of transitioned from the acoustic thing to the rock thing. He's a really interesting guy, man. I feel like his model of career is a good one to follow because he never arrives anywhere. He thinks it's important for an artist to not like become staunch in one specific style or place. You know, when you write, do you have a specific genre in mind, like that you're trying to like execute?
I feel like folk kind of sneaks in there always because it's on an acoustic guitar, so it's always gonna have that element to it. But it just depends on how the song turns out. Really, it just depends like halfway through or somewhere in the middle when I'm writing the song.
Yeah.
It kind of comes about. I never know for sure, but yeah.
It just kind of comes out the way it comes out, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Who do you look at now, like in the scene, not in the scene, but like in popular music? Can you point to anybody and say, I like what that guy's doing? I think that's like real. Any specific artists?
I'm not sure, honestly. I think Post Malone's actually doing some cool stuff. I think he's kind of cool.
He's from around here, right?
Yeah, he actually is. That's right. And then I like, I'm a good fan of the Growlers. I like them a lot too.
That's cool. I never heard the Growlers.
Oh, they're great. They're from LA, but
Nice.
they're kind of like beach goth and everything. It's kind of like gypsy, like I don't know, vagabonds type music. It's enjoyable.
Lost people.
I guess
People
yeah.
without a home.
Yeah, yeah, it's good music.
Yeah. What kind of what type of like vibe do you like are you attracted to in terms of like music and art? I mean, what is it that you look for like at the core of a piece?
Oh, I'm not sure, honestly. It's always different, but yeah, I don't know. I like a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I like sci-fi things like The Twilight Zone. I like Kubrick. I like Salvador Dali. I like a lot of different stuff.
Those are three like there's some factors that are similar between those three. You know, there's some kind of like, well, with Dali in particular, like a kind of off the wall, like definitely different from everything else. Man, he was a very unusual guy, Dali. Like it seems like that we need people like that who are just completely different from everybody else to kind of like push some sort of like more art out into the world. You know, he probably influenced a shit ton of people and still does to this day.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. Yeah, I think there's a lot of art now. I just feel like there's so much stuff going on. It's just hard to kind of like focus on it as much. And I feel like, I mean, I could be completely wrong. It's just me like throwing my thoughts around, but I feel like we're slowly less idolizing things, at least like one specific thing as we go on. Because I feel like celebrities in the 50s are not, I guess, like worshipped as much anymore, I guess would be the best word for it, because I feel like there's so many different things of entertainment going around right now, so it's kind of hard to like just focus on one thing. But
yeah, it seems like most people now, it's like make content and put out as much content as possible. And when you have like hundreds and hundreds of people doing that, yeah, I can see that people's interests are like kind of split now, whereas celebrities used to be like rare. It seems like there's so many more of them now, and since they were rare, they would get like idolized. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that change has come about?
I think there's in-betweens, and I feel like people like have like more opportunity to put things out there now, so it is kind of makes the playing field even huge or even bigger.
Yeah.
But like YouTubers and stuff like that, I feel like people like will focus on that more than Rihanna, like a famous YouTuber.
Yeah,
It's always different, you know. But yeah,
get like PewDiePie with 900 million subscribers or whatever, you know, like all these different YouTubers with huge numbers. It's funny, man. It's like, how do you judge who is the most popular? Because it used to be like TV ratings, like who has the most ratings on this particular night or whatever. That's the most popular person. But now you're right, man. There's so many different split mediums: Netflix, YouTube, Instagram, like Twitter, you know, television. It's like all these different aspects of areas to get content. Do you ever, is that ever like overwhelming to you? Because you're putting yourself out there. You know, like, are you ever like, shit, man, I'm like a, you know, like a small dot in all of this? Or how do you feel about that?
I think it's fine. I don't know, if people like the tunes, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
But like you liking my tunes, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude. And I was like looking into your Instagram and just like your stories and stuff like that, creeping on you basically. But, and you had a guy today just like filming your song, I'll Go, on his like radio. He was just like listening to it. And then I went to his thing and he's just like some dude, you know? And so like I think it's cool that there is so much going on, because the people who have good content, the cream will rise to the top. You know, that's kind of the most organic way to do it, is like when people hear your stuff and they like it and they become a fan just because they heard it. And granted, it's on maybe some like random playlist or something like that. But it's like, that's a good way to build whatever it is you're trying to build, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any like ultimate goals or like a next step in mind? And you don't have to share too much if you don't want, but like,
I don't mind.
what is it that you're going for next?
I just kind of want to make music and have people enjoy it. That's about it.
Yeah.
I have like a lot of interest in like film,
Oh, really?
but I've never like been too involved in it. I've made some like very amateur music videos for myself, but I don't know. I've always been interested in it. Maybe I'm just a fan. You know, I feel like if I end up doing something like that, then I'll do it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like my writing. I don't force it. I feel like if there's like a thing telling me to go do it, then I'll do it.
Yeah.
But right now it's like I naturally just write songs, so it's like I'll keep doing that. I like doing it. You know, it doesn't feel like work, so it's great.
That's cool, man. Well, I can see your fandom of film. Like you seem to have a certain aesthetic, and you probably get asked this a lot. But like, what you do have like a specific look, you know. And so, where did that come from?
I just got tired of thinking about what I'm gonna wear.
Oh yeah.
I just want to put it on and go eat a sandwich somewhere. You know, like, it's just easier for me.
So it's a black turtleneck and pants.
Yeah, that's about it. And then if it's hot, then I'll put it up. Then I'll like fold that.
Nice.
You know, whatever.
It's versatile.
Yeah, it helps.
It works in all different kinds. It's been cold here the past couple days.
Oh yeah, it has been. Yeah.
What have you been doing this weekend? Anything fun?
Working at Starbucks.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's where you work. I did forget to mention that on April 16th, you can catch Cody Lynn Boyd at Shipping and Receiving. I didn't say that at the top, did I?
I'm not sure.
Whatever.
Thanks for saying it.
Yeah, totally. No, I'll put it in later. That's going to be a cool show, man. Is that going to be a solo show?
It's gonna be a band show.
That's going to be a band show?
Yeah.
Nice, dude. I'll have to come catch that. It's right
Yeah.
down the road, man.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
That'll be cool. So are you a barista?
Yeah, I'm a barista.
What's that? How long you been there?
4 years. A little over 4 years.
I hear they take care of their employees really well with like insurance and different things like that there at Starbucks.
I haven't used any of that stuff, but it's a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a guy in a band called Pablo and the Hemp Hill 7, and they're a Fort Worth band, a reggae group.
Okay.
And their frontman, Joe, I can't remember his last name, it's just Joe, he works at Starbucks, and I used to see him at like various ones because he's a manager, and he'll like travel around to different ones and work at different ones. But it's cool because he's like in a band, you know?
That's awesome. That's cool. What kind of music do you like?
Man,
Or growing up and stuff?
growing up, for my whole musical like landscape, kind of like you were talking about frames before, my musical whatever is in a frame of like late 60s, early 70s rock and roll. You know, like Dylan, the Beatles, Neil Young. It's kind of Neil Young and Dylan at the top of my list. I fucking love the Beatles, but some of my other favorites are like Fugazi, LCD Sound System, Panda Bear, Animal Collective. I do, for the solo episodes every Monday, I do album of the week. And so I'll get into a new album every week. And it's always, the only requirement is that I haven't heard it before. And I've been doing it for a year. And so it's like, I've come to, like, I'll just be scrolling through Instagram or Twitter, and I'll see like something mentioned, like Consequence of Sound will say something, it's the anniversary of some band or group, or I'll see like a random album somewhere and I'll just download it. And sometimes that'll be album of the week, sometimes it won't. But doing this podcast has opened me up to a lot of different tunes. But this week, LCD Sound System put out a new album of past tracks that they recorded in the studio. So I've been listening to that. Panda Bear, who's like one of my favorites. He was like the drummer for Animal Collective when they had a drummer. You know, he's still in Animal Collective, but he does solo stuff too. He put a new album out called Buoys. I've been listening to that. And another thing that I'm kind of into is like local tunes, you know, like local music. My eyes were never open to the talent that was around me in the same town until I started having people on the podcast, started going to shows. You know, like there's a really cool scene in Arlington right now. Of like bands that are coming up, and there's just so much talent out there, especially in Fort Worth, man. Like Henry the Archer, you know, like come on, like Meech Pango, Nautilus, dude. Last night I went to see a band called Nautilus, and they're a math rock band out of Denton, and they're recording at the Hang Studios with Ben Barnett, their first full length, and it's just incredible to see the crazy ass time signatures. Like you can't tap your foot to it, you know, like time signatures change within the phrase of the music and you can't really follow it, but it creates this atmospheric vibe. They're not afraid to use these like really pretty, intense chords. And so and their drummer Kaysen is just out of this world. I mean, they're all incredible musicians, but I saw him downstairs underneath a bowling alley at Cowtown Bowling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had like a stage down there. They just put together like a punk show or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've bowled there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a good bowling alley.
You like to bowl?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think pool and ping pong are like my favorite to play.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
like
cool, man. Dude, if I could, I would play pool more often. I don't know why I don't. My grandfather had a pool table in his garage, and we would play out there. And then, so I kind of got like the fundamentals, the basics down. Sometimes I'm really good. Sometimes I suck. Where do you like to play at?
I guess anywhere. It's always random places.
Yeah.
Nothing specific. Did you ever play ping pong?
Last time I played ping pong was against my friend Lauren, who told me she was good at ping pong. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do this. And she just completely kicked my ass, like made me feel like an amateur. And she was just playing defense, you know?
Oh,
I just
really?
have trouble, like, I think that I'm better than I am, you know?
Ping pong's fun.
Yeah.
Do you like Forrest Gump?
Yeah, dude, I can dig Forrest Gump. That soundtrack is a great soundtrack. A lot of 60s tunes on there. Classic movie, very sad. He plays ping pong.
Yeah, I feel like if I had to send one movie for like aliens to like watch, it would probably be Forrest Gump.
Why is that?
I guess the history in it and everything. I feel like it's a good like demonstration of like what like the world is. I guess at least a little bit, you know. But it's a good film.
Is that one of your favorite movies, Forrest Gump?
That's one of mine, yeah, for sure.
It's not number one though.
I don't think I have a number one.
Really?
It just depends during the time. But like, I have favorite directors like Quentin Tarantino,
Tarantino's awesome, dude.
John Carpenter, Stanley Kubrick. What about you?
I love Tarantino.
Really?
Yeah, man. Like, I'm really excited for anything he puts out. You just know, because he's got that new one coming out, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Hollywood,
Is
yeah,
that
I think
something
so.
like that?
Yeah,
It's got like Pacino and DiCaprio, and is Pacino in it? I don't know. It's going to be really exciting. But he's cool because everything he does is so distinctly him. And like, granted, he takes cues from like, you know, pulp movies or you know, westerns or whatever he does, old samurai movies, but he just definitely has his own like spin on it. He's not afraid to like get out there.
yeah. He doesn't really have a filter. I feel like that's why I think a lot of people like his music, or not his music, his movies, and the music on the movies as well.
He always has great music in there.
But I feel like, I think directors not having filters or any kind of artist, I feel like a lot of people end up liking them a lot more.
Definitely.
But artists are usually more scared to do that. At least some are.
Man, yeah, you really hit on something there. I think that like true, unfiltered, raw art is the art that becomes most effective, for sure. I mean, because like some people are just trying to get big, and granted, you know, like trying to make a living and creating true art doesn't always go hand in hand, because maybe not as many people gravitate towards rawness at first, but that's always the stuff that stands the test of time. You know, Richard Pryor, Dylan, you know, these people who don't like conform to what is happening, you know, like everywhere else, you know. And it seems like now there is a strong penchant to put a filter on oneself.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
sure.
And it's kind of a politically correct climate, I would say. And if you wander out of that, you get backlash.
Oh, it's scary. I feel like especially when you're like already like known very well. I mean, it's already sometimes scary just being a regular person.
Yeah.
But like if you say the wrong thing, or you like word something like incorrectly, or the context is out not the correct way that it would have been, because people misunderstand people online. People misunderstand people in person. Sometimes I might not even say what I'm really thinking to someone like face to face.
Yeah.
Like that information doesn't even get to to be accurate to you. So I feel like
yeah.
people, I don't know, people are so quick to like get mad at people.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it is like if I feel like if I talk to a group of people that were mad about something, but then you talk to them one-on-one, I feel like it'd be kind of different, because I feel like when you get people seeing other people agree on something and go towards something, then it's going to be a different formula of like people attaching to something.
Yeah.
Like if like everyone said they went to Six Flags on the first day of school, one kid might say, "Oh, me too," even though he didn't. You know, I feel like people kind of like want to do that, and people are tribal, which there's healthy like tribalism and there's not healthy tribalism, but we're still in that. You know, we're not robots yet.
True, not yet. Yeah, no, there's definitely something to be said for that group mentality thing. You know, we all want to be a part of something. And so if there's a big enough movement going on to where like this group of people feels the same way, it's sometimes a lot easier to say, well, I feel that way too, instead of like taking a stand as an individual and saying, well, I think what I think, and if it's different from what you think, then so be it. I think it has to do with like ideologies, you know, like we do, there's that tribal aspect, like we want to be attached to something. But that mind frame is not conducive to good art, you know, like that mind frame of like being a part of something just because other people think that way. I don't think it's.
I think I could be wrong. I always say that because I could be, but I don't want to like seem like I'm claiming something. But in my head, sometimes I feel like people that are more social, kind of are more. They have a greater possibility of bending what they really think. Because then there's other people that look towards them and they kind of want to like please everybody, and I feel like people that are kind of like more to themselves, and more independent, and not like they're independent or like they're so cool. Just like more to themselves. I feel like they kind of put more raw art because everyone's thinking that, but everyone's kind of like scared to put that out, and I think that's why I kind of like a lot of my I guess influences a lot because Kubrick made things that were kind of banned in some countries.
Yeah.
Tarantino, a lot of people don't like his stuff because of certain things.
Very subversive to some people.
Even Dylan too. But yeah, so many artists, and I feel like that's what I kind of want to do as well. Just kind of be myself.
Hell yeah.
You know, and if people don't like it, then oh well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you just put it like, I don't know, if you just kind of like filter everything, it just ends up being like this safeguard like type art, and it's not like, it doesn't make like, you don't get in a situation where everyone's like bashing you,
right?
But then I feel like you don't really get in a situation where everyone's like loving the art and like taking like good aspects of it, you know, even if it's about something negative, there's a positive aspect to it, and I feel like if you're not introducing that to people, then people are not going to learn it. Like if a kid is raised just seeing everything happy all the time and he's hidden away from all these certain things, then there's a growth that's not happening. It's being stumped. And I feel like that's people. I feel like that whole culture that we have right now, which we could have had forever. Maybe it's my age that I'm getting into and I'm noticing it more. But I feel like having that filter on some things kind of stunts growth, like mental growth.
Yeah.
In some ways, but I think that, there is also good aspects to it too. I think
you're talking about like safe spaces and kind of like helicopter parenting and kind of like,
yeah, or just like social media and like just entertainment wise, you know, like anything like that.
Well, I think there was definitely, I think it's traceable, man. I've heard other people talk about this on podcasts and stuff like that. It's kind of traceable back to like 2010 or 2011, especially in the stand-up comedy community. A lot of the podcasts I listen to are hosted by stand-up comics in LA. It's just kind of the thing that I started listening to. And they talk about how comedy started to change around 2010, and that's when like the politically correct like climate kind of started coming up, and it became important to like not challenge anyone and to make sure that you're appropriate. And if you're not completely appropriate and accepted by everybody, then you're going to be punished and silenced. Right. You know? And so, yeah, I don't think it's just an age thing, man. I think you're right. It has picked up like sometime, definitely in the past like 10 years.
And I've talked to people, like I was taking a Lyft somewhere about a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to the driver, and he was saying that in the 90s, it was the same way.
Oh, really?
Like there was this big like filtration of like just social things, and it makes you like kind of like the wonder like what if this like is brought to us like purposely or just like it just happens to be that way how humans work, but every 20 years or every so often there's like this thing to kind of like correct us a little bit, like a pendulum or something. Like it's like it's good to be adamant, but then there's also good to change a little bit, and then we're kind of like just shifting.
It's just like a matter of things leveling out.
Because it's like back then, like, you know, see, I'm not like,
you could be wrong. No.
I could be wrong, but like, I feel like back then, like, you know, if someone's like, oh, you know, I can't go over there and kill that person and take his items and everything, you know, that's terrible. You know, it's like, I feel like, but it's like a slow moving thing, you know, like.
You can't do that, man. Yeah, someone has to say that, right? Because otherwise, I mean, we're animals, we're barbarians, you know, essentially. And so, yeah, at some point, like when culture started to become a thing, there has to be rules. You know, Lenny Bruce actually has a good bit on that. He's like, we put our shit here, we do this. And he's like, he's talking about like the very beginning of society, like when those rules were being made. And then when you broke the rules, you had to be punished. And that's where like government and like martial law and everything came in, you know? So yeah, I think you're right. There is like a naturally course correcting action that happens in society where it's like when things get too far this way, they go over the other way. And I think that's compounded now, like in today's society, by social media, which is completely new. If you think about it, I mean, the internet is still, in the big scheme of things, very, very new. And we're just figuring it out, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy time to be alive.
It really is, dude. I think I think this is the most interesting time to be alive.
I think it gets more interesting as you go on. Like it's nice to reminisce about it, but to be in other times. But I think I like being in this time right now.
Right on.
But there's times where I do wish I was, like in another time. If you could be in any time, like if you could have one day to go spend in one era, where would you go?
One day to spend in one era. If it's one day, am I like invisible where like nobody can see me?
You can hang out with people.
Can I hang out with people and I'm just kind of part of them?
Yeah.
Man, I think that any time would be interesting just to see the differences and like, because the most interesting thing to me about like life and people, for example, like going to another country, the most interesting thing to me about that is not necessarily the touristy parts, the places where travelers go, but like the driveways, the backyards, the alleyways, like what people's houses look like behind a store, dumpster. Like it's different in different countries.
Oh yeah,
you know?
You're not just seeing the monument that everyone stares at.
Exactly. Yeah,
like,
it's like
taking pictures. Like
yeah, right.
They're not even like staying in a hotel that's like every other city in the world.
Exactly. Yeah, the Holiday Inn in Japan is the same as Holiday Inn here. You know, like holding the Leaning Tower of Pisa, taking that iconic photo, like all the tourists do. Right. No, but it's like so to me, if I were to pick a time period just to see the way people live, I want to say like the Old West. That's kind of what's coming up, you know, like the pioneer days.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
It would probably be just like super, super boring. Like in my head, it's like Back to the Future 3, you know, like this like Disney type of thing. But like in reality, everything smelled like shit. You know, like people were, I mean, I'm sure they didn't have like soap and showers and stuff, you know, like there was no good cleanliness. People lived a lot less. But in all honesty, if I were to pick one time era to go back to, it might be like Roman times.
Dude, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, that's mine as well.
Because they had they had a full ass society going on.
Yeah.
Like they had plumbing, you know, they had hierarchies. Why was that your pick?
I think it's just interesting. I don't know why. I think it's cool to see something so old, but also very related to now. Because Because sometimes I would say, I would want to go to the 20s or 50s, but then I feel like if I could go back, for a day, it's like I want to go something that's completely different, but still like subtly related. And I feel like even the 50s is kind of close to what we have right now. But like even like the gladiators, like in the Roman days and stuff, they had sponsors and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting. It's just like athletes now.
Right.
It's just different. Like when I see a football game, it's like I'm watching a lion and a gladiator fight.
Totally. Yeah. Dude, that's exactly right. The Colosseum, man. Think about how incredible that is. They built this. See, that's a sign of a society that's doing okay. When you can build this like huge, basically sports arena and just have humans fight animals and kill each other in front of you for sport, you know?
And I think that's honestly what sounds scary, but sometimes I feel like that having those entertainments that distracts people kind of keeps society flowing because it makes them not like overthrow everything. It's like it kind of keeps them a little bit occupied,
Totally.
But I feel like we have that now, and that's probably why we have like so much like entertainment. Maybe that helps with like crime because people are just like focusing on this and they're not as angry because they watched their favorite show and like had to laugh.
Totally, yeah. It's but then there's the other side of that coin where people get too sucked into the show and sitting there and staring at the TV. But there is something to be said for the whole, like I've heard somebody mention how football games, for example, any type of sport where people are competing, that's like a microcosm of what wars used to be. Because like people were so frustrated and like fighting all the time just because we are warring tribes. And so then you look at professional sports and it's like, well, there's this tribe and they're going at war. They're competing.
Yeah. And I was born in Dallas. Go Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. I mean? Yeah. And so it's like, there's definitely, Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for that, man. Do you have any? Are you a sports guy? You like any sports teams?
I used to be severely obsessed with football when I was a kid.
NFL?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I was at the point where I would throw my Tony Romo jersey on the ground and stomp on it.
Wow.
When they lost the game.
When he fumbled the snap at that playoff game?
Yeah, I probably cried that time.
I bet you a lot of people did. I think my uncle did.
Like, I was severely obsessed. It was weird. Like, there was actually a time, this sounds like the most country southern thing to say, but I prayed that the Cowboys would win a Super Bowl, like when I was like 10 or something.
Should have prayed harder, my friend.
That is the most southern moment of my life. But now I'm not really a sports fan or anything.
Dear God, please
let the Cowboys.
Let the Cowboys win this time.
Yeah, but
I'll do anything.
But I will sometimes listen to the audio, like, and have it, because there's something about the announcers and just the noise of the game is kind of like relaxing.
Totally.
Maybe it's kind of partial with like me listening or me watching my old cartoons. It's like I have this nostalgic feeling of listening to the game. But now I don't root for any team. I just like listening to like the noises and stuff like that.
I can relate to that. I didn't watch football for a long time. And then just this past couple weeks, I watched the Saints and Rams game to see who's going to go to the Super Bowl. And it was the first time I watched football in a long time. And here it was Sunday. You put the game on, like the sun's up, and it's a good vibe. Like, football's interesting because it's always on like Sunday, mainly on Sunday, right? There's like Thursday games and Monday games and stuff, but mainly like football is NFL Sunday. And you're like, it's the daytime.
It's like a religion.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. It's a day of rest,
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, and I had that same feeling whenever I put on that game the other day. I was like, man, I want to do this more often. I get that same like positive feeling from NFL games for some reason.
Yeah, it's like this drug that kind of sucks you in. You're like, oh, I don't know.
It's
weird.
You know Hunter S. Thompson?
Oh yeah, for sure.
When he, I guess he hung himself, or I think he shot himself. Whatever he did, and whenever
I think he shot himself. But I'm not too sure.
So he ended his life, in his suicide note. He scrawled a suicide note, and it was like a paragraph long, and then under that, and it was typed out, and under that he wrote, "NFL season is over," something. But like that's like the last thing he wrote, like right before he shot. Something about NFL, because he loved the NFL, and it was right at the end of the season.
Oh really?
And he's like wrote. Isn't that weird? It's like dark.
Weird.
He must have felt that same way about it.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder what team he liked.
I don't know. I'm sure that information's out there. Who knows, man? It probably could have changed day to day.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure where he was born or from. I just know him, like he's connected to Las Vegas, obviously, a lot because of the book and everything. I think the book was kind of like
serialized articles.
Well, no, it was kind of like for Dylan. It was kind of like a shout out to Dylan or something like that.
I could see that,
but I'm not too sure though. I could be wrong.
Dylan definitely made a huge effect on a lot of people when he came out. Like Jimi Hendrix would carry around his complete book of his lyrics, of Dylan's lyrics, with him everywhere he went. Like John Lennon mentions Zimmerman in the song "God" or whatever on the album.
He's like, we are the Beatles, or we are the, or I don't know, something about Yoko as well.
Yeah, exactly. I don't believe in Yoko. I don't believe in Zimmerman.
I don't believe in, that's what it is.
It's a great song, man. And he also mentions him, he mentions Dylan by name in at least one other song, something on the White Album. I think Your Blues. He mentions something about Dylan. And then people make just references to his stuff. I mean, what do you think it was that kind of captivated people about Dylan?
I think he was just like what we said before. He was just honest. Just try to be honest as possible. And I'm pretty sure he got upset when people didn't like it sometimes, because that's a normal human, thing to do. But I think he was just try to be honest in himself. But yeah,
sure. I think he kept going despite people not liking him, because you can see in the documentary No Direction Home, directed by Martin Scorsese, that was released on HBO, that 2-parter. You can see when there's footage of him on stage, people are booing Judas, screaming at him and stuff when he's on stage with the band in the UK, and people are sending vitriol to him, and he's on stage and he's just sometimes he'll talk back to the audience, and then you can tell off stage he's very frustrated by it. But it's he kept doing his thing, almost like he didn't have any other choice. That's just who he was. And so he never sacrificed any part of himself. I think he's just a complete individual, man. It's like you said, that is what resonates with people, I think.
That's why I like Tom Waits as well a lot. He's the same way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Those guys are awesome, man. I think it's awesome that you are influenced by those people, or that you recognize like the importance. You know, I feel like you recognize the importance of the individuality of those artists, and also the importance of being an individual when things get chaotic and there's a lot of different ideas being thrown around in culture. Because the only way to connect with people on a real visceral level is to stay true to yourself and to kind of keep on your own path no matter what, man. I feel like you understand that.
Oh, well, cool.
And Cody, I feel like it comes out in your music as well, man. So you feel good about everything?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Cool, man. Well, let's get this wrapped up here. Let me just take a look at the run sheet here to see if there's anything that I skip by. Usually I'll make a list of like questions that kind of I want to know, but it sometimes comes out like during the talk anyway, but I just want to check. Do you identify with a scene around here? Or are you like, yeah, I'm in the Fort Worth scene? Or like, do you have like a group of like musician or artist friends that you identify with?
I'll see them every so often.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess so, a little bit, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Let me see what else here. Do you play with a band? Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to that full length, dude. Whenever I know that there's no like time on it right now. I like the way you're doing it, where you're putting out track by track, just like making sure everything's complete and solid. Obviously, I'm a fan of yours, Cody Lynn Boyd. Make sure to follow him on Instagram at Cody Lynn Boyd. Like his Facebook page. Go add him to some playlists on Spotify, man. Let's get this guy out there. Let's keep spreading the word. And be sure to be at Shipping and Receiving April 16th for a full band show with Cody Lynn Boyd, who was recently featured in an article for the Dallas Observer. That's also something that I meant to mention up top. I'm a semi-professional podcaster, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
you're great.
Cool. Hey, I appreciate
I forgot
that,
to say that your voice is perfect for broadcasting.
Thanks, dude.
That's what kind of got me interested in you. Like,
Oh, cool.
I think your voice is perfect. Your personality as well. You're really good at that.
Thank you, man. That's much appreciated. So I think there's some mutual respect going on here, dude. So thanks for coming on, man. I really enjoyed that.
I appreciate it very much.
All right. Well, everybody, make sure to check out the new solo episode coming out on Monday, and have a great week. Until then, goodbye.